Excellent. We're now recording the Better Your Best Q3 party. So each quarter, I'm trying to come up with a fun class where I can mail you a small gift and you can hopefully learn something new. So this quarter, I really wanted to feature the masks and the mask set. And so you should have gotten a mask set in the mail. And it's the Artistic Decorative Masks is what they're called. And then in your packet, you got a piece of the masking paper. And we'll talk a little bit about the masking paper. So if you haven't used it, then maybe you'll learn some tips and some tricks from me. If you have some blending brushes, that's great. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. We can use some sponges or sponge daubers too. I think the blending brushes lay down a pretty solid coating of color. So I think that it's a good way to do it. And then a few other things you'll need for the class. You're going to need some different inks. This is all done in brights pretty much. So polished pink, pumpkin pie, daffodil, parakeet, Pacific Point, gorgeous grape. You are going to need a black for this reverse technique. And then you're going to need a Versamark if you want to do the white on the black piece here. So it also depends on what stamp set you have. The stamp set that goes with this is called Good Feelings. It is a really lovely stamp set. If you don't have it, I like really big greetings. I like to be able to it makes really simple cards that are really pretty. But if you don't have it, you can use another stamp set, no big deal. And then I die cut the 3 butterflies for you. The butterfly dies are not the best. They're older. I feel like our newer dies cut better. So you probably have a lot of little extra pieces in your butterflies. Don't be as concerned about getting them all out because you don't want to tear or rip your butterfly. So just, if your butterfly has a couple extra little dark pieces in him, it's okay. It's better that he has that than he has a whole wing ripped off. So,
Melissa?
Yeah.
I have the cards.
Ooh, you do have the cards because I taught it this summer and Jill was here. So
yeah.
Let me pin you.
Oh, good God.
Sorry. I know. I was there. Yes. So beautiful. So this first one is we're just going to do the mask tape and then we're going to blend with the blending brushes and I'll show some techniques for that. And then the second one.
Which one's the second one?
The one with the brick.
Okay.
So this has an embossing folder. So we're going to color and then we're going to run it through the embossing folder, which is really interesting. And so you get a really, almost like a spray painted look. Instead of if you embossed it first and then you tried to add color, you would have valleys and peaks, right? And you don't want that because you want that color to go on smooth. And you could use any embossing folder you have. So, and then the next one is, the one with the black on it.
They both have black.
Oh, yes.
One says
hip hip hooray, the circle one. There we go. Yes. So this one's really interesting. You're going to add color and then we're going to add black on top, which is interesting. So I've never done that before and I think it's kind of cool look. So we'll do that.
I want to remember how Dawn did it. Her little, her rogue one.
Yeah. I think she just faded it. She didn't go the whole way. And so
with the black?
No, with the color. Yeah. So I thought that one was cool. So maybe I'll do a little partial today. And then the last one is a technique where we're going to lift the color. So we're actually going to use the mask to help lift color off the page, which is kind of cool. So if you have a spritzer or a water bottle or something like that, then you'll need it for that one. So good. Okay. So I'm going to show you the techniques, and then you have the PDF. So this is for you. If you want to run this as a class, you're more than welcome to. You just can't give out my PDF because it's part of the group that I'm in. And so you can't give this out, but you can teach the class, and you are more than welcome to do that. So I'm going to replace the pen. Okay. So here we go. We've got our directions. We know what we're working on. All right. And then let me just talk about the masks real quick. So you have a kind of, I don't know, Baroque tile looking, quatrefoil looking pattern. There's kind of the, like a four, I don't know. This one's kind of cool looking too. Also looks like a tile to me, just two different kinds of tile. There's the squares. We're not going to use the squares. And then there's a plaid. And you can use these two together to create a really interesting plaid. So like, Kathleen, I know you love different kinds of plaid. So this is actually kind of cool because you can use this and you can mask on like maybe a lighter color. And then you could use this and mask on like a darker color. And you're going to make like a really cool plaid that has thick and thin lines in it. So these two can actually be used together. They can be used separately too, of course, but they make a really cool plaid when you mix them together. So, and then these two pop out of this main piece. So you could use this and you could sponge color and then stamp a little sentiment on it. And that's kind of cool. But you can also use these pieces. So don't lose these, because you could put this down and then you could sponge around it and you create a negative space, right? So remember, you can use both sides of this. So just, you know, when you put it all back in the baggie, you know, put it all back together and then you won't forget that. So we're going to focus on these two for tonight. So the first piece that we're going to do is actually just the masking paper. So you're going to cut this masking paper into 3/4 inch strips. So with your paper trimmer or cutter or whatever you've got, you're just going to cut 3 3/4 inch strips. So 1, and I meant 4 because, you know, I can do math. 4 3/4 inch strips. All right. And then I have my faces here. All right. So this has a regular size card base, and they're using thick white for the card base. So you've got that. And then it has a piece of paper, and just make sure you measure it because each of these has a piece of white, but they're all different sizes. So this one is 4 by 5 1/4. And then when you're doing your masking tape or your masking paper, there's a fold in the back. So on each, like down the middle of the piece, there's a little crease, and that's where the peel line is. Don't just stick it straight on though. Put it on your clothes and make sure that you tack it. And I think most of us agree that you need to tack it twice. So you're going to stick it on your clothes, peel it off, stick it again, and then put it down. If not, you're liable to rip your paper. And you need quite a bit of lint fuzz. Unless you have very linty clothes on, then maybe you don't need it, but maybe even 3 times for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off the bottom, and then I'm going to mask off the top. And I'm gonna mask off the sides. So I'm just creating a little frame, and I have to have it lined up so I can see what I'm doing. Then we're gonna add polished pink, pumpkin pie, and daffodil delight. We're gonna start with the polished pink on the bottom. So one of the things that I've learned is instead of daubing your blending brush, blend your blending brush on the surface and then blend it as you come on to your page. You're going to get a better color application. So kind of blending it and then blending it here, right, is going to give you a better color saturation. And you're going to do, you know, the bottom third or so with the polished pink. And then I'm going to leave it open just in case I decide I want to come back. And then I've got another one that's dedicated for yellows and oranges, but it had a bunch of green on it that got onto it from transfer. So I'll just kind of rub it over here just to make sure. But then I'm going to come in and I'm going to get my pumpkin pie. And pumpkin pie is a pretty dark color, so you might not need a ton. Like for me, like that's probably it. I'm good. Like pumpkin pie is strong. And then I've got my Daffodil Delight. I'm just gonna make sure I don't rub pumpkin pie all over my Daffodil Delight. Now, there are people that have brushes for each and every one of their like colors, or I don't know, but I think that's crazy. And I don't want to invest that much in these brushes. Like, I mean, I like them, but that's a lot.
If you don't have the, can we use the sub saffron? Or
yeah, or crushed curry maybe.
Or crushed curry. Okay.
I would use crushed curry. So saffron's really pale.
Okay.
Okay, and then once you kind of have it where you like it, and maybe you think, oh yeah, I want some more, you know, of whatever, right? There might be something that maybe I'll do a little more pumpkin pie in the middle. And then maybe I want to come back with a little more pink just because, you know, I like pink and I think it's pretty. There. So then once you have that, then you can go through and peel off your paper. So when you peel off your masking paper, peel it kind of at an angle. See how I'm taking it and I'm slowly peeling it. This is the key to not ripping your paper. It also lets you save this and you can actually reuse this. So if you want, you can just set it aside and you can usually get a couple uses out of it. Probably not more than 2 though, but so get your corner and kind of just like peel it on an angle. Oh, see, and that one ripped. So when it starts to rip, then what I do is I come at it from the other side to see if I can get it to not rip. Because I'd like to be able to use this again. But if not, it's okay. We have enough for several cards. So. Okay, let's flip that over here. And then, yep, that was ripping there. So I'm going to go here. I really like this piece. Okay, so that one didn't go well. So I've got some of the adhesive and a little bit of masking stuck to here. But if I'm just really gentle, I can get it off. I will say that masking paper is not for the faint of heart. And I got a little bit of pink down here because I didn't go low enough. I can just trim that off. So that's no big deal. And now you can stamp whatever you want on here in black. So whatever sentiment you have, whatever stamp set you've got, you can do that. So I have the Good Feelings stamp set, so I can stamp it, but there are lots of other stamp sets that you can. And they can be retired, and that's okay too. This is just learning the techniques, all right? All right, so here we go. It does have good line weight on it. Like this stamp set has really good line weight, which means that it has enough like darkness that it's gonna pop on something like this. So if this is a set that you've been thinking about, I really like it. And I think it stamps really pretty. And then you're just gonna put your butterfly on there. I would recommend that you wait until you have your card assembled before you put your butterfly on, because you don't know how, like you wanna make sure your card still fits in your envelope. So I have my packet cut here. So just make sure when you're attaching it to the card base, you know, attach it to your card base and then put the butterfly on and kind of make sure it stays where you can actually get it in the envelope. Cause I had a few this summer that didn't fit. Okay. And I'm just going to trim this one little scooch off. Okay. There we go. Cool. And you can just pop it up with dimensionals. That looks nice. I've got some dimensional edges here, so I will use this. All right. And card one is done. So these cards have lots of impact. You could add rhinestones or matte black dots or whatever you want. I just like that these cards have a lot of impact and they don't have a lot of fuss. So they're very, low fuss, but high impact. So, and see, I've got a couple of extra pieces on my butterfly and I'm just going to leave it in because I think it needs to go like there. I'll use a glue dot. One glue dot, two glue dots. Any questions so far?
I put a question in chat.
Oh, good. Lynn, let me see. Oh yeah. So Lynn, if you don't have the blending brushes, you can use the sponge daubers for sure. You just have to, if you have the big yellow sponges that you remember, we had those big yellow sponges, you can cut the yellow sponges and use like a rounded edge of a yellow sponge. And I think it's actually a little bit better than using the daubers. It just kind of depends on which one you can get a smoother color, out of. So play a little bit and see which one you like better, but you could use either one.
Okay.
Patsy, what was your question?
I think it went under the masking tape a little bit, the color.
Okay.
Kind of off to the edge.
Okay. So you just want to make sure that when you put the masking paper down that you just get a nice seal,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, so you could maybe use, see, I tried to take that piece out and now I ruined my little butterfly. You could try the sand eraser on it and see if you have a sand eraser, and try to get the color lifted a little bit, but I don't know. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to, I think the next one is a different color set. Yeah, so I will put away these colors for now so I don't make a huge mess. All right, so the next one, it's the same idea. So we're gonna do the same 4 1/4 by 4 by 5 1/4, which I think is not in this file, but maybe is in this file. And I will apologize now if there's anything missing from your packets. They were created at retreat, and I got the masks in on Wednesday night when I left, as I was leaving for the retreat. And I was like, okay, I'm going to prep this at retreat. And so this is what I prepped at retreat, but that does not mean, it means that, things might have happened. So, okay. So what we're going to do is we've got the same size of paper. This just has 1-inch masking paper around all 4 sides. So it's a larger cut in. So so maybe we won't use that other masking paper again. On your masking paper, there we go. Make sure I've got enough. Yeah, so we're going to use 1-inch strips. So they're bigger strips, which will leave a smaller space in the middle that we're coloring. And so 4 1-inch strips. And you get 10 sheets of masking paper in a pack. So, I mean, if you buy a pack, I mean, it should last you a while. So, all right. These on here. So I think what's interesting to me about this one, a lot of times we emboss the paper first and then we add color. And this one, we're going to actually add color, stamp, and then emboss it, which is really interesting and totally not the norm. So, and if you don't have the brick embossing folder, it's okay. You could do some other embossing folder and I think it would still look equally cool. We actually had fun with the brick because we were doing both the embossed and the debossed side. We were trying to decide like which way we liked better. And so with this, you're going to kind of go to one corner and see how it doesn't go the whole way. That's okay. Because then I can just come over and cover that with my next one. And then now I've got plenty of room for this one and plenty of room for that one. All right. So we're going to do Gorgeous Grape and Pacific Point. I think Gorgeous Grape gets a lot of play, but I don't feel like Pacific Point gets a lot. So I like Pacific Point. It's a pretty blue. So I want to congratulate each of you for your great quarter. You guys continue to amaze me. We had 12 people or 13 people, I think, qualify this time. And so same philosophy, right? We're just going to come at this and we're going to add some color. And what's great about this Butter Your Best kind of thing that I've been doing is that I think it's a way for me to recognize you guys differently, right? Like I recognize you on like a monthly basis, but it's also cool to see like quarter over quarter what you're doing. And I think it's neat, like different people that don't maybe get a shout out during a monthly meeting make it to the Better Your Best quarterly party, which I think is really fun. And I started doing this with Celebration because I thought that would be fun. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to break out a new, I think. But then it went so well. And I felt like I was, rewarding people for, a job well done, but in a very different way. All right. Let's
Did you say it makes a frame so it's all 4 sides?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have enough masking, but that's okay. I can at least do 2 sides of it to, at the inch.
You should have had enough if you went long ways.
Okay.
So your masking paper is, I just pulled a pack out. Where was it? Let me find it. So your masking paper is long. You
Uh-huh.
cut this way.
Oh. I think
If you
I'm
cut
in there.
this way, then
Yeah,
yeah, you're
that's
not
fine.
going to have
Yeah.
enough. Mm-mm. Okay.
That's good.
All right. Well, good to know. You
Yep.
can use masking tape. You can use, like, if you've got painter's tape, I always have painter's tape in my drawer. So before Stampin' Up made these, I just use painter's tape. So
Okay. I'll do that.
blue painter's tape can work too. Okay. So we've got our color on here. And we're gonna stamp a sentiment, but I'm gonna pull this off first. All right. So the masking tape, I don't know that I would do this with like beginning stampers. The masks themselves aren't bad to use with beginning stampers, and I think that they're probably a little bit easier to use. This tape is a little tricky. You can teach the same technique using painter's tape, and I used to do the same thing with the painter's tape. I would just stick it to my, to my chest, and then I would, put it on the paper. So I'd pick up some lint and then I would put it on the paper. So you can teach the same thing with that. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right. So now we're going to stamp our other sentiment on it. Yep, I need a bigger block. And with this one, just make sure that it's got some really fat lettering. So if you are using this stamp set, make sure you ink it really, really well. There we go. All right, and then we're gonna run it through an embossing folder. And I'm gonna run it through a different one just to show you that it can work with others. So we could do the brick and mortar, but I'm not going to. I could do painted texture. I could do Christmas, but that's not gonna happen. I could do gingham. I could do timber. That might be a little busy though. Same with like the hive, the honey hive. No Christmas. Christmas makes no sense. Or time worn type. What do you guys think? Painted texture, gingham, time worn type. What vote you?
Gingham.
Of course, gingham. How did I know that would be your response, Kathleen?
Gingham.
All right, let's see what happens. And then I am gonna use the line here on the folder to make sure that I've got this straight, because this is one of those ones you wouldn't want crooked. So.
I am loving the crisp lines from that masking tape.
It's
that you're
nice.
showing.
it is really nice. If it works, it's nice. If it doesn't, it's not, right? And that's the problem.
I don't know why, but in my mind, I told myself that the way people achieved that look was like Post-it notes and like putting the stamp, like the ink pad upside down and like inking it. Like I am just like mind blown that it's just matte. Like I don't know how I didn't correlate that before, but I thank you for including this in the Better Your Best packet because I didn't know how to do this technique. And
Okay,
I remember
That's so weird. My phone dropped the meeting. Huh. Okay, well, I'm gonna come back. But yeah, there is Post-it note tape that people were using, I think, for a while. But when Stampin' Up came out with the masking paper, then everyone was like, oh, okay, great, we'll do that, you know? So
I just think it shows off the intensity of the ink colors so beautifully. It makes me almost want to get a couple more blending brushes because I only have 3 of them. I did like primary colors. I did like a red, a yellow, and like a blue. I might be inclined to get some more just because it's so fun and it seems, even though you said it's not for a beginner, it seems pretty easy to do. I would probably want to like set up a couple of them and do them all at the same time. That way I'm not like using more ink than I need to.
yeah,
But I love that look.
nice. Like, I think that looks lovely. It's subtle, you know? It's pretty. So
I definitely got more blending brushes because I only had 3.
Yeah.
So now I have 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And
I
it's real helpful to have the different hues.
I started with 3 and then I thought, well, I'll get another set. So I've got 6 now. And I like them. I think it's nice to have, you know, you do achieve a nice color look, you know, with them. And they're not super expensive. They're like $12 for a set of 3. So I mean,
Now, was there any ink transfer on the embossing folder when you just cranked that through, or was it okay? Perfect.
perfectly clean. Yep. No problem. So that's good because you know you can do this in a class, run this through, and you're not going to have to like keep cleaning this in between.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
So I wash my brushes after every use. And I'm getting the feeling that you guys don't.
Yeah, so I don't. You know, my concern about washing them is that we would get like potentially mold eventually, like if they don't air dry well. You know, I don't want a bunch of moisture like in my pad. I don't know. So I'm not washing mine, but people do. But I would just be real careful, make sure they get dry. Patsy, what were you gonna, you've got your hand up or no?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then this one also dimensionals up, you know, butterfly shocking, right? Like same pattern, very simple. I had an extra butterfly here somewhere. I don't know where he went. He flew away. No, he really did. Oh well, the desk is a mess. That's okay. All right, so we'll just pop this up with some dimensionals and stick our little butterfly on it. Yeah, I do like the lines and the clean line. I think it's really pretty. And I think this is, you know, and this is a pretty fancy way to add a lot of color with, you know, minimal effort. All right, so let's check out. So card number 3, and then add your butterfly. All right.
Could you hold that up closer so I can see the embossing?
So we can see the embossing, yeah.
I have to kind of hold it at an angle. Can you see it now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. The light in here is weird tonight, so
Nice.
it looks pretty cool.
Where is your camera?
My mount.
Oh, I need to pin that. Hold, please.
Oh, do I need to pin it? I thought I pinned it.
Oh, I like the gingham. Cool.
Yeah, I think the gingham turned out nice. Yeah. So I thought that turned out cool. But I think I think anything would be good. You could do the ferns. The ferns would be interesting, you know, like honestly, I think you could do almost anything with that. So, okay. Number 3. Number 3. Okay. So for this one, we are going to yes. All right.
Can you show that gingham again? I didn't see a camera.
Maybe I need
Oh
to
yeah, no, I like it. Yeah.
let me make sure I'm spotlit.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah, you
just
just need to spotlight it. Or Terry needs to pin it. That helped me.
Here, I can spotlight for everyone. Is that better?
yes.
There we go. Sorry about that. All right. And there's the gingham
Okay.
with a good angle. So cool. Okay. So the third one, we're going to add a bunch of color. And then we're going to add black on top with our mask. So this one, you're going to need to be able to add color, and you're just going to add it diagonally. So we're going to start in the upper left and we're going to kind of work our way down. We're going to add all the colors because why not? I will say that sometimes when you use your blending brushes, you're going to do this. You're going to get color on the outside of the pad. And so just make sure that you come back, like, you know, when you're through with your blending brush session, that you come back and kind of just clean the edges of your pad. I tend to do this only when I'm doing blending brushes, and I think I'm just overzealous with the blending brush. Like you can see on my purple, it's got a bunch of purple on the edge. So, and you know that's everywhere if I don't clean it, because I'm very messy. So we're gonna start with some pink up in the top. We're gonna start off our page and we're gonna add some pink. And we're gonna add a little bit more pink because I like pink. And so you kind of angle it how you need to angle it to keep yourself, you know, on a diagonal, whatever that looks like for you. Then we're gonna add some pumpkin pie on the diagonal. You know, I think you're right, Jill. I think that when Dawn did it, she added it. She didn't do the black the whole way. You're right. And then yellow, whatever your yellow is, Daffodil Delight or whatever. Now I'm going to clean my brush out a little bit because I haven't started a purely yellow situation here. And Daffodil Delight's a little faint for me, so I feel like I have to add quite a bit to make it for me. And you might choose to come back and, you know, add some colors that you like. All right, now we're going to add Parakeet Party in for a situation. This is a very ink-hoggy class, but I think it's worth it. I mean, all right, so I'm going to start a new brush. Making our green in. And of course, you could do this with any number of colors, right? Like this doesn't have to be the, you know, the color you choose to do. You could just pick and do, you know, you love the lines. One of Candy's favorite colors of all time. Lemon lime twist was actually her favorite. Cherokee Park.
So it blends better if you start on the side and just work your way across.
Versus starting in the middle.
That, right, correct.
Yes, absolutely. So the
Okay.
goal is to start on off
Mm-hmm.
your way across so that you don't have harsh lines. If you start in the middle, you're going to get a real hard thump, right? And you're going to get kind of a real, heavy impression. And so if you start off
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of work your way on, then you'll get a better, a smoother color transition.
Mm-hmm.
I got a whole
You do it well. That's nice.
Hmm?
Watch. I said because you blend it very nicely.
Thank you. I have gotten better. Jill has taught me some tricks. And I have definitely learned along the way. I need a little more line in here. I feel like this is not, there's not enough. So one of the things I've noticed, Harry, and one of the reasons I don't clean my brushes is because when the brush is too clean, it doesn't seem to have enough color saturation on it. And so these new brushes that don't have a lot of color in them, I'm having to like really go back in and like add a lot of color. And so I don't know. I don't think I could clean my brushes. That's just me. If you have to, you have to. But if you don't have to, try keeping them saturated and see, if you get a better experience. Wow, this is very bright, especially on camera. I just looked up.
I was at Darlene's and she had, I think she had like 8 or 9 brushes. And I guess my fear was, and not so much with the brushes, but before I had used something else. And inevitably I blended my colors. So I would like put my green and my yellow.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it brought the green alive when I thought the green was clean. But that's just my own anal self, I guess. But this is really nice. I mean, your colors on your brushes aren't making a difference at all.
Yeah, they really don't. I think they actually help. I think they help with the color saturation. All right, so what's going to tame this bad boy down is some. So we're going to get. Oh, there's my. Found the button. It got caught on my mask. So we're going to. Nope, not this one. We're going to take this and we're going to put this mask on top and we're going to add some black. Now, this is one thing that I did not add with, I added with a sponge dauber. I did not use a blending brush for this. Now, you'll notice I'm using some of my old masking tape and I'm taping down, but I'm not taping my actual sheet, right? The edges of my paper are here. I'm taping outside of it and I'm just using this as a little bit of like extra stick just so that my mask doesn't pop and run around on me. Because with this one, you don't want your mask to move. So we're gonna find our sponge daubers. They went to retreat. Did they come home?
How many brushes do you actually have, everybody?
I have 6.
6?
3.
Hebrew.
I have 3, but I'm thinking about adding another 3-pack.
Yeah. Well, I don't see my sponge daubers. I hope I came home again from retreat. Oh, here they are. Yeah. Okay. Getting my sponge daubers out. So Patsy had asked me about this case, and I tagged it Darlene had posted a link. There's one of these dauber cases on scrapbook.com. And then there's another one. I bought it from someone off of Etsy. Mine actually ended up broken and I had to have him send me another one. The one from scrapbook.com didn't come broken. So I don't know what the difference is. But basically it's a way for you to store your sponge daubers. And then Darlene posted this handy dandy little chart that you can cut and stick in the top of your box so that you have like a dauber for every color. Now you can tell I don't have a dauber for every color.
Where is that posted so we can?
In Southern Sweet Stampers, if you type daubers or dauber case, it will come up. I just tagged Patsy on it like a couple of days ago, so it's actually relatively high to the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to find our black ink. Haha, memento, not STAZON. So just to be clear, this would be a mess with STAZON. And we're going to dauber the black on. I have not used a blending brush and black ink. I think you could. I'm not willing to sacrifice one of my blending brushes to find out what happens. I'm sure it's possible. So I'm kind of daubing this, and because these holes are small, I'm being careful too, because I don't want to rip up my dauber too much because these are kind of sharp edges. So I'm kind of pressing the ink in there and then just with like an up and down kind of motion. You could use a big yellow sponge if you still have some of those older sponges that we had. I liked those. Those were very economical. And then what we were playing around with this summer is I was actually, so this originally was going to be my Q2 class, but then I got inspired by something else, which happens a lot. But this summer, what we did was I didn't do the whole, Dawn didn't do the whole thing. And so my sister-in-law, many of you know, so it looks kind of cool. It's like a partial, right? And you don't have to go the whole way. And then you could put your circle right here and then you wouldn't have the whole thing covered. Or you could, do the whole thing. Line this back up. And pretty good at lining stuff up. And so I can line this back up and I can, go and finish the rest of it. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to pull up all of our dresses. So I'm also tracking my better, my best. Because I think that, if I ask you guys to do it, then I should do it as well, right? And I should be looking as well. So our first better, our best, we had 9 people earn it. Last time we had 12 in Q2, and in Q3 we had 12 people, which was great. And I bettered my best in sales by 38%, which is awesome. So, so I'm tracking it based on percentage. But Jessica qualified with a title advancement, and I sent her a bone folder because she needed that. And then Esther qualified. She sold her first 900 and she bettered her best in sales. So when you're new to the team, we just look at your highest quarter and you need to better your highest quarter if it's within the first year. And then once you have rolling sales, like you have you were here in Q4 last year, we can compare this Q4 to last Q4. So Esther, and then Patsy and Sarah and Jen and Crystal, Kathleen and Ann and Brenda and Andy and Bonnie and Lynn all bettered their best in sales. So it was a really good quarter. So,
Woohoo!
yeah, I mean, it was celebration, which is great. There's definitely discussions about not doing 2 celebrations. I know that this last celebration probably wasn't, huh? You want to do it? Sure. Okay. Wasn't, this last celebration probably wasn't the best for everybody. I know a lot of people said that they didn't have people who, you know, like the join deal wasn't great, and they maybe didn't have people who, you know, they didn't have as much people take advantage of the sales and the things. So Stampin' Up has decided that 2 celebrations probably took the fun right out of it and took the exclusivity out of it. And so they have decided to go back to 1 celebration. Now, I think that that is effective for this next year. So the celebration we get in January and February will be the celebration. Not to say that they won't do other sales or other things, right? And I think that's part of what they've been trying a lot of this year is different sales opportunities, different types of things. But ooh, there we go. Okay, I like the whole thing. So excellent. Ooh, that's a lot of ink on there. All right, and then this you're just gonna go take to the sink and wash it before you make a big mess. So put it on the floor and let the dog run off with it because that'll be fun.
How is the dog?
Say what?
How is the dog?
He is big. And luckily for him, he has stopped mauling us all the time. It felt like full-on assault for the first month or so. That whole like, I'm a puppy, so I will explore everything with my mouth kind of a deal, you know? So he is still here, which is great. And he, there were definitely some moments where I thought he might not make it. So, but he is doing good. We haven't weighed him recently, but got to be way over 30 pounds. And he's, you know, 5 months old. So, biggest dog we've had for sure. Biggest dog I've ever had. I've never had a dog this big. But he runs like a doodle. Like he's definitely a lot of doodle. Like he's got that like doodle prance / doodle goofy, you know. He gives hugs and kisses. He's very sweet with all the neighbors. He's real sweet with kids. And we found him a puppy friend down the street, and they love to mouth each other without actually hurting one another. So there's a lot of like, you know, and they just like drool on each other and whatever. And then they roll down the hill because our friend Megan has a hill in her yard and they like that. So there's like this and then rolling and then this and then rolling. So he's doing good. He might make a cameo at the end. We'll see. He'll try to eat everything on my desk, but I can't bring him anywhere near here. So this one also easy, mounted on a white card base, and then you have a black circle in here. And so you can, it's cut with the stitched shape dies, stylish shapes. And so you can stamp this with Versamark and do the white embossing powder. Remember, you can also stamp, if you have the white craft ink, you can stamp with white craft ink, and then you can add clear embossing powder on top, and that will basically do the same thing. So, and anytime you stamp with white craft ink, I still think you should use the heat gun. Like that stuff is so gooey otherwise, and adding a little bit of clear embossing powder on top kind of seals that bad boy in. So, but this is a cool technique, and I've never, using a black ink for your mask is pretty nifty. So, and if you have some of the older masks, you know, you can try it with some of the older mask sets too. So, okay. So last card, here we go. This one's the cool one. I don't know. They're all cool, I guess, but, but I think this one's really cool. All right, so this piece of cardstock is supposed to be smaller. I really hope that I catch y'all's packets right because mine is not. So whatever. So this one should be, oh no, this one is 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, good. Cool. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna apply 3 colors on here. And the 3 colors are kind of the ones we started with, the orange, the yellow, and the pink. And you're going to apply them in a random fashion. So you can. So you can just take this and maybe I need to like re-ink my daffodil to like, that's the issue. Probably been like, I don't know, 10 years since I've re-inked. All right, so we're just gonna kind of add it. I like to add it in kind of spots of 3. So we're gonna add 3 in a major spots of yellow. And then we'll add 3 spots of orange, maybe less. I don't know, orange is not. All right, so that's orange.
So effective next year, there's only going to be the one celebration at the start of the year then?
Yeah, that's what they're planning. They're also going to make some changes to the events schedule. And I think that they're trying to do a good job listening to us, that, it's a lot of effort for a one-day event. We still have to stay. This whole idea that like, we'll have a short event. People can drive in and drive out. No one's driving in and driving out. Everyone's making a weekend of it. So we might as well make a weekend of it, So I think that's good. It'll be interesting to see kind of what they settle on, I mean, events have looked different, at different points, even in my short tenure, in my 9 years. The old school conventions, and then they get through those, and then we get this new stuff. So all right, so you're going to want the color on there pretty thick. I mean, it doesn't have to be crazy. I will say the more color you get on it, the better this turns out. And then again, we're going to have this like, where did my spritzer go conversation. All right, spritzers come as a 3-pack, right? We should know better, right? We should have more than one spritzer, okay? Isn't that what we? Okay, I have a new 2-pack. I have a new spritzer. So I'm gonna go put some water in it real quick while you guys add some color, and I'll be right back. All right. I had too much water in my spritzer, so I just drank some of it. It's brand new. It won't kill me. There's no alcohol in here. The fresh, brand new spritzer. Well, I haven't had a new spritzer actually. This is very nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to spritz our mask with water, and then we're going to lay it on here, water side down, and then we're going to lift it up. And what that's going to do is it's going to take the color with it, right? So we're creating like a reverse lift, right? So I'm going to spritz it. I'm going to spritz it off camera just so that I don't get it all over my work surface. But I'm going to spritz it pretty good because I want it to be pretty moist. And then I'm going to lay it down. And I'm going to kind of press a little bit, just gently. And then I'm going to lift it up. And there we go. And I'm going to bring it to the camera so that you can see.
Yeah, cool.
Cool, right? Like super, super cool, super easy, not perfect, a-okay bases, right? Because we want it to look like it was hand done, right? So it's not going to be perfect. So you've got some like little bubbles and it kind of stops over here and on the corner, and that's okay, right? A light press down is definitely good. You'll get better contact if you just gently kind of press it down though. I didn't press over here and I can tell that. And that's it. And then you're just going to let that dry. You can heat set it if you want. And then you are going to stamp your big sentiment. And then we're just going to, frame it on a piece of black, right? And put it on our card. And that's that. Neat, right?
Yay.
You can do this lift technique with a stamp too. So you could spritz a stamp and stamp it and then lift it up. So if you have like a really nice big floral image or something, it works better with red rubber images than it does photopolymer, because the powder tends to kind of roll all over the place. With red rubber, I think it holds it kind of well, but it allows you to lift it, which is really cool.
So you said to clean the mask, the one that we did the dauber with the soap and water?
I just wash them with soap and water in the sink. So
Okay.
kitchen sink,
Okay.
Dawn, whatever you have, dish soap. So
Okay.
yeah. Good. Other questions?
Cool.
So, a lot of times we think of the masks and we think that they're for, the embossing paste, right? But there's a lot more you can do with them. And I think the masking tape is really cool. And there's a lot that you can do with that as well. So, just some things to think about. I hope that you guys like this. I hope you have fun. You get a little messy and you enjoy.
I like the colors.
Ooh, that one's pretty. Yeah, I'm gonna take myself off spotlight. Let me see. Ooh, yeah, that one's pretty. It's so bright.
Yeah, I know. I like it.
Terry, which one was your favorite? Thank
You're
you.
on mute.
You're muted.
I like the very first one. I have masking tape and I haven't used it yet. And I got, I didn't know about putting the masking tape on your clothing because I too, in fact, today I was using washi tape instead of this masking tape because the masking tape was ripping my paper. So I went to washi tape and the washi tape was so strong because I was brushing today, as a matter of fact.
Mhm.
So the first one was really impressive for me. I actually learned about linting, linting your tape. That was cool. And I like what you did because it's just fresh and new for me
Yeah.
to mask the whole edge of the card. I didn't know how to do that. I mean, it's like I've been told, but I don't remember. So now I will remember this.
Yeah, I think that once you've done it, yeah, and now you get a chance to play. Sometimes as demonstrators, we don't play as much as we could or should. It's like,
Well, and using the brushes, I'm really glad you played with those in this demonstration. I've only used my brushes 3 times and I've had them like 2 months after they came out. That's sad.
yeah,
But now like Kathleen, I think I'm gonna get me a second set. It's actually on my wish list here now.
Mhm.
And I won't have to jump up and wash. But I do, I every time I use a color, I get up and wash it with Dawn. And
Yeah, no, I think it's fine to have one for yellows, one for oranges, one for red and pinks, one for greens, one for blues, and just have kind of pick your color families. Someone gave me these little I don't know, they're little brackety things to go on your brushes. I think it was Michelle Brownstein, but they actually pop off a lot and they're kind of annoying, honestly. And so I don't know. I mean, you're okay. You know?
Well, I keep all those things, and I know this is high end, but it makes me feel good. It's my feng shui. I have those bamboo turnabouts from Pampered Chef.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, but I've had them since before y'all were part of my life. But there's a place in there where I can just set them, and they air dry perfectly.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I haven't had that problem, but I do understand what you said. I never thought about mold. Oh my gosh. I
Well,
was air drying.
I mean, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being weird, you know?
No, it's not, because there's mold everywhere.
Yeah. Well, so it was funny. Susan Rutherford, we met for lunch, and she's, you know, my accountability partner, and she gave me a beautiful vase for my anniversary for Stamping Up. And she's like, yeah, you could put your blending brushes in there. And I'm like, no, that's pretty for blending brushes. And I was like, this is way gorgeous. And I was like, I'm not putting my blending brushes in here. This will get pretty flowers. But yeah, everybody stores them different, you know? So, but this does, I mean, I think for me, this is my favorite. Patsy, you had your brights. Kathleen, what's your favorite?
I think I'm with Terry. I like the first one. I think the colors and that technique, I really like it. Followed shortly by number 3, with the masking and the black over it. I think that's neat.
Yeah.
It makes me look at my masking masks a lot different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to try that one once I get some more blending brushes.
Yeah. Lynn, what about you? Which one did you like the best?
I would have a tough time deciding. I think I like the first one the best.
It's got a lot of
I
white.
may have to invest in some blending brushes.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty cool. So, you can, the color, I mean, I had a lot of dollars. I used those sponges for a long time. I actually was reticent to give up the sponges when they retired them and they brought the blending brushes. I actually went whole hog into the sponges and bought a bunch on sale. I had sponges for days, and there's a really good Seinfeld on that. But anyway, and so,
I know what that one is.
That was
but
a great Seinfeld. You're not
Funny,
sponge
right?
worthy.
Yeah, good Seinfeld. But, and then finally I tried the blending brushes and I was like, oh, I get it. Like I understood that the color just went on so much smoother and I didn't get stipples and dots
Yeah.
and stuff. And I was like, fine, I'll get the blending brushes. But I was really like, I was a holdout for sure. So Jill, what's your favorite?
Definitely the third one. I want to try the little glimmer paint and stick it in the with the alcohol maybe and see what it does. That's one thing I want to do for sure.
Fun. That sounds fun. Yeah, I definitely think that they're definitely different looks, you know, like they all have, I mean, I'm a watercolor girl, so this is anytime there's water involved, I'm there, you know. So I'm so glad that you guys came. I'm gonna stop the recording, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for everything you do for me and our team, and you guys contribute and you speak up and you offer ideas and you participate, and I really, really appreciate it. So I hope you know that. And I now will have to come up with Q4 better your best ideas. So hoping I've got a couple ideas, but I'm not quite there yet. So but I'm going to stop the recording and